I'm speaking to the Swiss Rwandan filmmaker, Kantarama, I'm going to get your last name right, Gahigiri. Who's done full circle. You started, not the year, but you were at the Berlinale last year, and now you're at the Sundance Film Festival. As I had mentioned to you, the chances of you getting in is just like astronomical odds against you. So just congratulations on having that film festival circuit world tour, if you will. If we're looking at your filmography, I sort of get a sense that it's something that you've been thinking about with other shorts, more or less. I feel as if you're a very, your text is politicized, there's some activism there. Obviously a film like this has a lot to say. I just wanted to get a sense of you as a filmmaker right now at this juncture in your life. Obviously you're looking towards features as well. So how does this fit into a scheme of what's manifesting out of you as an artist, but also as an activist?
Yeah, I think it's part of a personal journey of digging deep into my own identity and trying to understand where I come from, because my father has been displaced. He had to leave Rwanda early on in the 60s, and which comes with a disconnect. I grew up in multiple places. I went to school in Switzerland and in New York, and then in 2014 I went back to Rwanda professionally this time, because before that I used to go to visit family, but in 2014 was the first time that I was showing something there, and I met the community of artists there, and suddenly it really made sense, the whole journey. And from then on, I think there's a shift in what I'm trying to research and explore and say, because I realize as artists we have a platform. We're not that many, and if we do have that platform, we shall also well use it to talk about what is going on in this world. And I've been studying international relations in Geneva prior to delving to cinema. And I think all these topics of migration and violent relationship between North and South have always been around me, and I finally have a chance to address it. And so that's why in the previous short film, Ethereality, I'm talking about migration and what it means to be displaced, and can we really reconstruct our home somewhere? And then in this one, I'm going back to East Africa. I'm based in Kenya now, so I shot in Kenya. And I'm questioning the relationship between European countries that are sending their trash to Nairobi in this huge landfill that we were shooting. And it's, I think, even bigger than that, because if you think about this very specific place, what are we taking from the land and what are we bringing back? But I think it's also a global problem. If you listen to all the native communities around the world, they are going to tell you the same thing about how we are mistreating the soil and ultimately our first resource, and how we are poisoning ourselves ultimately. And when I was researching, because I found myself in 2018 going to Dandora dump site first time. When I was researching about dump sites, I found them all over the world. So it's not just about Kenya, it's about Brazil, Italy, it's about China, and in fact the biggest one is in Las Vegas. So it's becoming terrifying.
Very surprising.
Really, yeah.
I remember seeing a film called Manufactured Landscapes, and that sort of like repositioned how I was thinking of how I consume, but also how I trash the world. And that really, it blew my mind how all these communities are affected by it. But what's curious about this specific location is that it's out there in public view. I mean, there's one shot where we see the village. There's like a microscopic, it's far out in the, but I mean, it's far, but it's just as close. So I wanted to get a sense of what that location looks like, and also how you dress it, because at the onset, when we were first confronted with the first images, it's apocalyptic, it makes no sense. But I want to say, like, the third or fourth image, it almost feels like a forest, a hill. Your visual language and those choices is that you merge an ugliness with beauty. So I just wanted to get a sense of what that place is right now factually, and also the choice of not beautifying ugliness, but that mix of two worlds.
Yes, it's a very intense place. You need to imagine it being 30 acres big in the center of, like, in a suburb of Nairobi. And like you said, there are like buildings all around. There's a primary school just next to it. There are people living inside and just outside the dump site. But we really did the choice to not portray this neighborhood. We really wanted to talk about the landfill itself. And like I said, I came there the first time in 2018. I met the communities. There's a lot of activist people. They're doing rehabilitation work. They're teaching on site about recycling, about environment. They are also creating safe space for the youth to be able to have a place where they can dream and have a projection. So they're doing tremendous work. But what is their agency when at government level you know that there are agreements between Kenya and European countries? And so when you go there, and I visited this place, and it's very dangerous and it stinks, and it's really taking an emotional toll also, because you realize you're walking on mountains and mountains of trash. And when you look at the trash, it's like, oh, that's the t-shirt of that lady in Germany that I saw 5 years ago, you know? And then it's really disturbing. And
you see all these like international languages, like Sweden or something, like a paper cup or something from some other, it makes no sense.
It makes absolutely no sense. And there's like areas, it's kind of informally growing. It's like its own organism. And it's growing here, and there's more plastic here, then there's more glass here, then there's more technology here. And the whole technology aspect is also questionable, right? Because what are we taking in the region? We're taking all the coltan, all the rare earth minerals, and then we're sending back our old computers to maybe have a third or a fourth life there. So where is like the, I don't know, the respect we are demanding in the film? Like, we need to reconsider the whole system of neocolonialism and capitalism violence that is really bodily experienced on the ground. And so then you just go there, and I met the people that are ruling the dump site. I met several cartels. I met the politicians, and we decided to, I came with this idea last year in 2000, actually no, because we premiered in 23, so we shot in 22, yes. And I went there and I said, you know, I have this opportunity to make a short, and I would like to shoot something here with you guys. It's not about you. And so all the extras, all the people working, except the lead, they are all from there. And we discussed together how we could do that. And they brought also a lot of their own ideas. So then we created all the costumes. My production designer, he was born in this neighborhood, but now he's an internationally renowned artist. And I called him and I said, listen, I need this dress. I need like something organic and including technology. So he came up with this wonderful dress with banana bark tree as a structure, and he put like all the calculators and cables on top of it.
It's amazing.
So you need to imagine this dress is weighing a ton. It's extremely hot, it stinks. We're there shooting a full day on top of this hill. We don't know if the hill is gonna collapse and swallow us or not. But we have the fire, because all together we know we are making something very important, and we wanted to carry that message out to the world. So everyone, really everyone chipped in. and everyone pulled together, and yeah, so here we are. Like, we were premiering at Berlinale. It was amazing. We had a full year of a beautiful circuit, and then, like, as a jewel, we are coming here to Sundance.
Another gift, and you're loaded up with meetings. Like, just sitting down with, it's 8:30 in the morning. That's how busy you are. So I'm happy to hear that. That yeah, you're working on your future projects. The actress is from Neptune Frost. She's actually quite popular. I wanted to get a sense of what that collaboration looked like, but also the importance of this mantra that you created. I want to say it could almost be like a Beyonce video pop song or something. Like, I want to get a sense of the importance of that, also how you created this idea.
So when I first imagined the short film, it came as a poem and a lot of pictures. That's actually what I sent to my DP, and I called him. I said, I think you need to board this plane in 2 weeks because we have to make something very important, which he did. But you need to see this as a collaboration of all very talented artists that are my friends. It's a circle of multi-hyphenated people. I mentioned Kevo Abra, who's the production designer, and now Cheryl Isheja, she's the lead actress. She's my friend. She's been a really successful music producer, DJ, activist, performer, actress. It's the same with the music. Coco M, featuring Sisian and Kasiva, are 3 ladies from Kenya. They're really breaking boundaries. They're out there. Coco M is touring internationally. She's very vocal also about political thematics. And so she was working on something that resonated with Terra Mater, and so I knew about it, so I called her and I said, hey, I think your music fits perfectly what I'm doing at the moment, let's talk. And she was gracious enough to collaborate with us, and I mean, the whole film has been like that. We're just bringing more and more artists, and everyone is really enhancing that original poem I had in mind.
All these creative visions are expanding the nucleus of your idea.
Yeah, and a little bit about the structure, I think, because it's important to talk. You mentioned like a litany, and that's also really part of a research I'm doing now to decolonize storytelling, because we have been telling stories from the beginning of times. And it's not a 3-act form, because this is ultimately from Greek tragedy. We've been telling stories in a more circular way, and I'm exploring that medium at the moment, and I'm trying to incorporate also traditional way of telling stories with moments that are coming back. And yes, this you don't know when you start the story when it's gonna go, but ultimately you will fall on your feet at the end. So yes, Terra Mater is a exploration also in the form.
There's a very purposeful the denouement, how we conclude the film. It's very purposeful. I think my favorite scene is when the actress sort of like falls into earth tones, and she embraces not raw materials, but she embraces the earth. And so I want to say that it's you make a very powerful statement with those images, and it's a paradox to what we see all before. So I just wanted to get a sense of the importance of inserting that at that very specific juncture in the film, and what that means to you.
Yes, Terra Mater is talking about the wound, and how at the moment we are experiencing globally a disconnect between us and the earth, between us and all the living beings. And I think transitioning into the nature, green, earthy tones, touching the soil, reconnecting with those values, it's part of also what I'm trying to incorporate in the next project. It's a way towards the healing, and how we could collectively imagine a future that is more sustainable. So the switch, I wanted to also incorporate already a little bit in Terra Mater to open up and not just harshly. And yes, the images are beautiful, but they're starting to sink in as you're watching, and you start to realize, oh, those birds, they're as big as me, and they're judging me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and you're starting to like slowly sink in what it means to touch the soil and how it feels.
So you're at Sundance right now. I imagine you might your filmography is actually quite interesting, because there's a whole bunch of films that you worked on before you were an artist on your own that were Sundance titles, like a whole bunch of American indie stuff that was here. So it's a really interesting trajectory where you participate on all these productions and then start doing your own stuff. And I imagine that you're looking towards making your sophomore feature. Is that where you're lining up right now?
Yes. Yes, the trajectory is not straight. I don't believe in straight lines. I think time is not linear, right? So it was part of a learning process, and I very much enjoy working on other people's film. I learned a lot because I didn't go to film school. But after a while, I got some sort of frustration because I sensed that the time was right, that I find my own stories.
Yes.
And this is part of when I really went back to East Africa, and I started crafting
Yes.
and working and writing about the topics that I'm most concerned with. So coming back here, it's amazing. Like, it really feels, wow, it feels like a beautiful platform, a family. It's a big family, I think, here in Sundance.
Yes, it is.
And it helps also to prepare the next film. And at the moment, I'm rewriting a feature, which is maybe, let's say this, it's the next step. It's towards the sun, towards healing, towards the earth, but it takes place in 2050, Kenya. So it's a nice, ambitious project. I don't want to say too much about it because I'm rewriting at the moment, but...
so I guess we can watch Alfonso Cuarón's film that's set in 2050 just to prepare us for...
Please do.
Yeah, maybe dystopia, but maybe not. Who knows?
We need hope. So it's not purely dystopian, I think. There's a part, there's definitely dystopia because we're aware of what's going on, but we also need spaces in our mind to start imagining how we can go forward.
An alternative to,
Yes.
yeah. And without giving anything away, is there, like, I imagine you have Swiss funds, is there some key component people that are already on board that you can mention, maybe like a producer or something like that on this project?
Yes, I've been, from the beginning of the project, I've been teaming up with Elias Ribeiro from Uruku Media. He's based in South Africa.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it was very important to find a production company on the ground of the continent first. And yes, we're teaming up with a Swiss company, and we are going to open up to another partner very soon. And it's a challenge to make films in Africa, in East Africa, in Kenya, in Rwanda. It's a big challenge, but it's also why we are making films, because we have to talk about that. Mm-hmm. And there's a few artists, we are basically, we all know each other, we support each other. And we are here. Films are going around, they are at international festivals, and just the act of making them is already an activist act.
Yes.
So, yes, always a collaboration with probably Switzerland, which feels natural in my case,
mm-hmm.
but I don't want to get stuck in this North and South relationship. I'm also open to other possibilities. I've been looking at Brazil. I've been also participating in Middle Eastern events where I pitched. So yes, it's a whole other discourse.
Great. I hope you get a whole bunch of partners like that on board.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And yeah, this journey has ended, but it's picking up with something else. So best of luck with that, and thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hey, this is Eric from IONCINEMA.com. If you want to support us, subscribe below. For more reviews, interviews, film festival coverage from Sundance, Cannes, Toronto, you want to check out these guys on this side.